Right, we're back. Time to continue on with the early industrial era. Which, based upon the technology, is considered, I'd say, go from around 1800 to around 1900. Yeah, that's a bit accurate. At least historically speaking, I am at 481 AD, according to the in-game calendar, so... Yeah, it is a bit out there, the exact numbers. Ooh, spider. Spooter. Yeah, wherever the spiders and the sword appear, they're probably, they can build the entomology lab for me, which is why I haven't built many of those. Yep. That was turn 5000. They're 25% of the way through the game. Yep. It's probably going to take more than 4 times the episode to get through to the very end, at least time-wise. Oh! Oh ho! I can finally build on the tile. Ah, it took long enough. Suppress fire. Because any barbs that would end up landing there are probably going to be gunpowders. Hmm. Really making it difficult to avoid building this. Oh, jeez, okay. Still haven't built the Arboretum? Wow. Petting Zoo. Look at the Public Health Agency later. Marine Biology Lab. Probably should get these. This, this, this. Huh. It's a bit odd for Appia to be that far behind, but wow. I guess in a way it's to be expected. Where? You are also getting involved. Okay, further north, forest the tile, because I may as well. Factory. Public Health Agency. What was this unlocked by? Statistics. Okay. Okay, that actually does explain it pretty well. Tournament. Tattoo parlor. Naval Academy. Law firm. Firing range. Organal. Fencing Academy. Minor League Stadium. Should be good enough for this city for now. Factory, Metropolitan Administration. Health Agency. Shipyard. Water Tower. Theater. Chip mine. Cellar. Shop. Still a young forest. Still waiting on it to convert. Not in the city's influence. None of those are. Okay. No, it's not yet time for me to be able to build one of those. However, I should replace this workshop with a mine. Since there is now an ore there, it's possible to build a mine there. Is that? Yes. Okay. Yep, there's factory buildings here. That will take up quite a bit of time to get through, though. Oh, it's the city. Okay, that takes 20 turns to provide me with 11 production. Right. As for the other buildings, let's see. Wait. Oh. Never mind, I still need to build the ancient customs. Especially since, yeah, the tannery provide me with way more production. So. Easily enough to overcome the engineering school itself. So. It's best that I wait a bit. Factory, Metropolitan Administration, Trust Bridge, Steamboat Port, Marine Biology Lab, Public Health Agency. Oh, okay, so the Mathematics Department is an upgrade over the Mathematics Academy. Okay. That's why it's not as effective as it initially seems. Okay. that city. Dun, 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 ba, 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 dun, 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 dun. Pillaged one thing and then ran away. There it is. Get back here. There, that should be good for the city. Okay, factory, gondola canals. It's gonna be long. There's not gonna be any sort of turtle that comes here. That one I'm not certain on, so I'm not even going to bother with it. Still gonna wait on building the amphibian pond, though. I do need to get a bank, though. Pretty sure, yeah, every city on Ethionesia has that already. I don't have refining yet, and I'm gonna wait until I have it before building anything. This tile still isn't inside the cultural borders. Literally every tile around it is. Come on, claim the tile already. Actually, since I'm doing food preservation, I'll be getting the greenhouse soon, so there's no reason to making that. Ah, there's a paper factory coming up as well. Okay, and food scarecrows. Of course, I have to handle all those animals next turn, but it's a later me problem, not a current me problem. Ah, yeah, that. You know what? I'm gonna talk about that. So, I'll just say it straight. The diamond industry is a monopoly. There is one company that owns 80% of the diamonds in the world that have ever been mined, at least according to known statistics. As well as most of the diamond mines in the world. I think like 90% of them. I don't quite remember the exact numbers, but it's a lot. And it's such a severe amount of market control that they easily keep the pace of release of diamonds into the market slow. Like, extremely slow. To the point where it's actually a bit ridiculous. But the end result is the same regardless. Diamonds are way overpriced for how common they are. Because, honestly, they are fairly common. And it's not surprising, really. After all, carbon is one of the most common elements in the crust of the Earth. There are some things that are more common, but I think it's a combination of the fact that silicon is everywhere, and also the fact that a lot of the carbon gets extracted and put to use by living things, which, for fairly obvious reasons, yeah. Some of those require access to power, which is why electricity is a big deal. Well, part of the reason why electricity is a big deal. Okay, Honolulu. Build some more buildings first, before continuing the expansion. And the thing is, diamonds are very common for what their pricing is.
A crust eaten in peace is better than a banquet partaken in anxiety.
Yeah, diamonds are honestly a pretty simple gem. Because they're just, well, a bunch of carbon atoms in a crystalline structure. This isn't exact, and carbon isn't exactly a rare material. Plus, it's also a material that's, out of all the gems, it's actually one of the easiest ones to synthesize. To the point where we actually have synthetic diamonds. Though they're usually called cubic zirconia. Because it's, well, carbon atoms in a cubic lattice. That's pretty much what it is. Oh, now I just have to wait until I can get oil dealt with there. Hey, now we're getting a better idea of what's going on over here. Oh, come on. Well, maybe this can happen. I highly doubt it, considering you're going to be going pretty close to none, so, but, hey, it might work. Yeah, and these synthetic diamonds are very easy to make. Oh no, you're going to be annoying about this, aren't you? So easy, in fact, that there was a propaganda campaign, or well, then again, it's not propaganda if it's done by a company. Then it's just advertisement. An advertisement campaign that pretty much called these uh, artificial diamonds fake diamonds, and tried to convince people that these fake diamonds, well, that these fake diamonds don't count. And well, yeah, and the like. And like, oh, with the fake, oh, if he gives you a fake diamond, reject him. Because he obviously does not value you, and so on. Yeah. And of course, as is with everything, this diamond mining company is also one of the legacies of colonialism, specifically British colonialism in Africa. So maybe also, possibly also, yeah, actually, it might also be Dutch colonialism, because, the Boers. But I don't remember what exactly. Who owned it, but I think it was the De Beers mining company, diamond company, whatever. It's not important exactly which because, well, it can be looked up. Falconry School. Okay, engineering school is now available, along with... Yeah, okay. Right, okay. After that is the question of... Okay, so it's only +4 right now. It's a lack of improvement. I am getting a lot of food from hunting in the city, so I doubt it's going to be an issue for long. Hmm. Okay, I'm just going to build the engineering school in the city. I want to keep a closer eye on it, because it's going to take a while for any sizable amount of improvements to arrive in the area. Largely due to distance. Eh. Oh, I really need to remember to actually upgrade that beacon into a lighthouse. It's a lot of tamed animals. Yeesh. Okay. Workboat, workboat, workboat. There you are. Subdued Arctic fox. Ooh, foxtrot. It's also probably part of the reason why Keno has more population than Nadi, despite this one being the newer city. Fishing. That's it. That's all. Oh. Lovely way to farm XP, huh? Lots and lots of celebrating, huh? Okay, tannery. How much production? +8. So definitely the carpenter. And then the engineering school. The surveyor's office gives +8. Yeah, okay. Have to take 3 turns. I'll figure out more details down the line. Among other things, the amount of production, base production, will increase as I do more improvements. It's just the nature of things. I only have 2 of them, and there's room for more. Adam Smith's trading company is certainly going to help make improvements more valuable. That's for sure. Factory. Plus 65 production. Also a cannery. Drill 4. According to Civilopedia, that's all I need in order to obtain that. And what I mean by that, I mean the heroic. Carnival. Neat. Build a factory. Fishing boats. That's bear, and yeah. Not much more to it, really. Okay, already having a mountain mine should speed up base production quality. Speed up, bring up, whatever. Okay, yeah. 50 production? That plus 40% is going to be 100 production. Once the power comes online. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, there's so much more that can be obtained, production-wise. And I'm pretty sure specialists don't count as part of base production, right? Yeah, specialists work just like buildings. They add to the production after the multiplier has been reckoned with. Stuff. So yeah, diamonds are horrendously overpriced, and I don't actually have much else to say about it. After all, it's not something that I have a stupendous amount of interest in anyway, so... Dun, dun, dun. Here comes agricultural engineering. We'll take all those flower farms and whatnot and consolidate them.
Second to agriculture, humbug is the biggest industry of our age.
Whew. Anyway, that unlocks the modern granary. That's the mega farm, but it's corporate owned, which I don't like as a civic, so I'm not going to be doing that. King hut. Back. Okay, that. That. There. Should be fairly reasonable. What's a greenhouse take? Art building. Excellent. No questions. That's right, it provides science, so... Yeah, it consolidates quite a few buildings, so... Of course it's going to provide a lot. Locusts. Well, I do wish my hunters wouldn't just match subdued animals out of nowhere. It does seem to provide XP, so... I can't exactly complain that much, I guess. Yeah, that's about what I figured. It's no big deal, though. It was just a subdued snake. Would have gotten me... Not very much. Yeah, okay. Center for Cephalopod Studies. Can only be built by a subdued giant squid. Because that's the only sea animal that's a cephalopod. There's not that many different sea animals, actually. So... That event again. Crops. In theory, I can build a plantation where to get the resin. Lumberjack's way better, though. I mean, look. +1 production, +6 commerce with plantation. +10 production, +6 commerce with lumber mill. Why shouldn't I? That's why resin's another really good resource to have, because it also turns just like the prime timber. It takes already what is one of the best buildings in the game and makes it even better. Well, best improvements in the game, and makes it even better. Quarry the salt. Salt quarry. Ah, I didn't even build anything there. I just built the road and assumed it was done. Well, the tile needs its burnt forest replaced. And I get an extra production if I do so. Quickly enough, so... There we are. Yeah. I don't have much to say again. Monopolies are awful. Despite what some economists might try to tell you, market power is a very real thing, and a company that has too large a market share can easily influence markets to their own ends, especially if they have the resources for large quantities of advertising. I may have already said that um, propaganda done by companies is literally just advertising, and I stick by it. Advertising is just company propaganda, commercial propaganda. Because what is propaganda? Well, I'm probably going to go into much greater detail at the point where this tech gets researched for fairly obvious reasons. But I saw at least I think a decent definition when it flashed on the screen. Oh, hi. I have gotten so many great hunters that I got a generic one now. Sometimes happens, but sometimes I do actually get a new one. I know for a fact we haven't gone through all of them. Sometimes it just glitches and can't find anything. So it just throws up a generic. I can build those mines real quick. So a little bit more commerce, not commerce, gold to keep my budget good. Admittedly, it's having some issues. But hey, maintenance is what it is. But yes, propaganda is a specific form of communication that attempts to convince people of something. It's a really simple definition that got really negative implications down the line, but that's what it is. It's literally just trying to change your mind on a position. That's all there is to it. And the reason why I call it market propaganda, advertising, is that it's convincing you to try to buy the thing that it's advertising. That's it. There is nothing more to it. And political propaganda is, well, at least within most political propaganda within an electoral democracy, which is what I'd say a decent portion of people live in, and it's probably the most uh, the most democratic large-scale political system um, practiced nowadays, unless something radically changes in the time between me recording this and this getting put on YouTube. Like, I don't know. It's more likely that some sort of revolution occurs in a large country that creates something even more democratic than a liberal indirect democracy, rather than an entire continent and then some falling into some sort of dictatorship or illiberal democracy. But you never know, weird things happen. But my point kind of stands. In those societies, most political propaganda is to try to convince you to vote for a specific party. Or in the more interesting, let's say, examples, convincing you not to vote for a particular political party. That stuff tends to be a bit more interesting for multiple reasons, because usually happens to be a lot more aggressive in how it treats other people. Malicious, maybe? Yeah, that's about what I figured. Yeah, as I said, I'll probably end up going into more detail when the propaganda tech comes up. Which I personally think is more indicative of mass state-owned propaganda. Because subversive propaganda, well, actually, it depends. It's technically speech making, rhetoric and things like that. That's actually, how do I put this? Also propaganda.
Have you ever considered a spiral law?
That is a very silly way to put that. But it does give me a water pumping station. The whaling ships are more valuable. It does lead to combustion. Oh boy, there's going to be a lot of factory building in the future, isn't there? Why are you standing so close to this? Falconry School. Okay, what now? Right, the engineering school's been built and there's been some improvements made. So the percentages are higher now. It's +8 production. So this is easily the fastest thing I can build. Actually, the straw gatherer isn't fast enough to outdo the guild hall. The apprentice workshop. That. Forge is +6 in 26 turns. So 5 production-ish? Yeah, 4 or 5 per. Fine. Fine, fine. I'll figure out more details after. I don't want to spend too long on production queues because they can change with new tech. I will, however, get a great person in 5 turns in a city. Numea. It's probably going to be the usual bunch, though. Anyway, that corn is prime farmed. Right, time to mine some silver. It could be a lot of commerce, not nearly as much production, but that's okay. Mines are still impressive, even without ease of use. How has this unit survived another turn without getting captured? Recaptured. There it is. I was waiting for that. Nah. Ooh. Jeez. There, that's a free specialist in all those places. Metropolitan Administration, Cannery, Greenhouse, Factory, Soda Pop Factory. I think at this point, it's fine to build the fish pens. They've become cheap enough for it to not actually be an issue to do so. If I can build it in 2 turns, it's fine. It's become cheap enough for me not to worry about it. Diamond. Neat. That makes the tile more valuable. Cannery. I'm gonna wait on these a little while. Just because there's a slight chance. I have to have hopes and dreams. What is life without hopes and dreams? Boring. Horrifying. Etc. Right. So, say hello to whoever the new person is. Oh, this guy. Neat. I actually remember his name from architecture videos. Don't remember much else about him, though. Leads to... Strat, I can't get heroic on ships. Okay. Right, get yourself for some more movement. It's out of reach of any city for now, so... Pasture. Nothing else to do with the tile. If it's out of reach of any city, you might as well do some sort of extraction of resources. No point trying to maximize yield of the tile. Because it's just not going to get you as much. Well, what can I say? You're out of possibilities. At best, I can give you a Warlord Corporal. Maybe a Viceroy. Yeah, Viceroy. Ooh. Let's bring that guy up. I know he can get me an achievement, so... Just wait there, hopefully I'll remember that the Viceroys for that unit. Because that'll unlock me new possible promotions, which I can then use on the unit. And also just dump XP onto it. Okay, so I need a tattoo parlor. There it is. Let's get Spice Trade out as well. An entertainer. I think I still need the blood dance in that city. If I don't, I can find some other city that can accept the blood dance. And if there is no city nearby, well, entertainers can actually produce culture in a culture pop. It's a lot weaker than a great artist, but they can still do that. Birds. It's probably a good thing that I turned off the domination victory, because I get the odd feeling I'm not sure if I would have it now, but I think I would be pretty close at the minimum. still too expensive for me to consider that. I'm gonna research railroad and college for the session. Spice Voyage, Reservoir, Law Firm, Artist Colony, Art Gallery, Accounting Firm, Organ Hall, Tattoo Parlor, Bardic Circle. No, water pumping station. The whole city requires less to grow is really going to start stacking up. Maybe it needs a turret. Please don't tell me I just burned a bunch of XP on a unit that can't use it.
I got pig iron. I got pig iron. I got all pig iron.
Lots of wonders. Quite a few new units too. And that unlocks the railroad. Well, I'm gonna be busy doing something else now. And yep, okay. It's unlikely I'll be able to pick up anything else with regards to these things. Led by Warlord. Yep, okay, that seems to be what happened. Great. Oh well. Just keep doing your thing then. You're now even less likely to handle capture, so. Oh, whoops. Okay, next turn, and then I'll call it. Handle this city. Yep, you're still in your factory, and then there's also the new transport buildings that need to be dealt with. Yep, that's it. So, I've got a new city up here that's growing ludicrously fast thanks to hunting. And I've started getting quite a few buildings that reduce the amount of food a city needs to grow, and combining that with the civic that gets me the strongest reduction out of all the agriculture civics. Okay, maybe not the strongest. State-owned is apparently stronger. Don't like it though. Other than state-owned, but state-owned I don't like, so. Yeah. I'm slowly working my way through tech. I've got refining coming up next. And I'm desperately trying to avoid thermodynamics while getting all the good stuff. These won't help me with anything though, they just give cash. And sickness, but, well, health isn't really that important right now. Let me just randomly pick a city, my capital. Okay, health might actually become a problem, but I've got a bunch of cheap buildings that can give me extra health. Including the landfill, if need be. Hypocost, etc. Including also these culture producing buildings, so I have a decently good reason to build those eventually. Build these. They're pretty helpful. Also water pumping station and upgrade to a modern granary in order to get even more health. There we go. Yeah. I've also obtained a unit that can no longer get any more upgrades. My only chance is to find a, well, great general and then attach them to this unit in order to get the heroic stuff. So stuff like tactics, morale. I already have leadership, but heroic. Admittedly, it's not that helpful on a hunter because hunters can't be upgraded any further. This is 15 strength is the highest that a hunter type unit can have. Because honestly, it doesn't need it. But still, it's not to have a ludicrously broken unit, promotions wise. I also attached a noble to them because I was hoping it would lead to, well, more promotions, but nope. I need an actual warlord. Oh well. I'm actually pretty close to spreading all the way to Ogus. Going to need to continue settling cities though. One hereabouts, maybe hereabouts. Another one likely around here, and then another somewhere in this area along this coastline. I will inevitably have to build cities in the interior. That's just unavoidable though. I'm getting closer to the point where I'm considering conquering Nandwai, especially since ships have started appearing again, barbed ships, so I do have more reasons to try and invade those spaces. But anyway, I have gone on long enough. I'll see you again next time. Until then.